I got to tell you, if after the end of these 3 sessions you don't believe in Jesus and you don't believe that Christmas happened, then this prophecy that happened hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, it told the whole story. So if you are struggling in your faith, by the time we're done here, if you don't believe, something's wrong with y'all. Really. Right, Mother? All right. So let me just give a quick bio and I'll turn it over to you. Just like Deacon Tim, they were born in Detroit. I think you both went through Catholic school, parochial school system. And the original Mercy Sisters, that's where Mother, by the way, I call her Mother. Everybody else calls her sister, but she's Mother to me because she was one of the founding mothers of the community, and I can't call you sister. But in any event, she joined the original Mercy Sisters in 1955. So who were the original? Remember Sister Albertine? That community, okay? Then she went to school. She got her bachelor's degree in elementary education. Then she began her master's degree, the major in history, American history at Catholic University of America. And then it was that time to do some perpetual vows. Is somebody else doing perpetual vows this year? Raise your hand. So that happens in August, by the way. Then, after professional vows, she went to the University of Notre Dame and majored in theology. She got a master's in theology. And it was at that time that the Mercy Sisters put her in charge of religious formation. And that was such a success. In 1973, you and the other founding mothers started the Mercy Sisters of Alma. Now, when you do that, that's just not like, okay, we're a community now, right? There's a process. So somebody had to go to Rome and help deal with that transition. Guess who went to Rome? Mother Timothea. But while she was there, she decided to get a doctorate in sacred scripture. And her sacred doctorate degree was in biblical exegesis. So you deacons and priests know what that is, right? From the Pontifical Biblical Institute. Let me say that first word, pontifical. That's a big deal, the Pontifical Institutes. There's not very many. You get a degree from there, you are something. But how about this? The very, very first woman in history to get a doctorate in sacred scripture from a Pontifical Biblical Institute. This was. So then she joined the Pontifical Biblical Institute to teach Hebrew. But not only Hebrew, you could read and even say Aramaic. Aramaic is the language Jesus spoke. What else? Greek. How many languages you have mastered over the years? 10 languages. Did y'all know that? 10 languages this young lady is proficient at. Then she went to another pontifical university, the Gregorian University, and she taught the prophetic text, which is a key thing here, the messianic prophecy that she's going to talk about. So she taught at the university level. And then you probably don't know this, but she's taught really all over the world. I think we think of here and maybe Rome, but she's taught in Nairobi, Kenya, the Philippines, Germany, England, all as a professor. She also taught at the seminary in Dunwoody, New York, and something special to me because it's the first time I ever met her. She was a professor at St. John Vianney Seminary in Denver before she became our professor for the Old Testament and Psalms. So she's been all over the world. But when we said in the announcement, world renowned, you might say, oh, they're just saying that. I'm telling you, she's world-renowned scripture scholar. So with that said, Mother Timothea.
I want to focus our attention today on the book of Isaiah. And there are many messianic prophecies in other books of the Bible. but perhaps the most famous ones come from the book of Isaiah. Isaiah comes first in the prophetic text. Those are referred to as early prophets because they tell the story of Elijah and Elisha and Samuel and so on. It is listed as one book, but in fact it is 3 books. The Council of Trent listed the books of the Bible, and specifically Isaiah, as one book, one author. The first 39 chapters we would call First Isaiah, or Isaiah of Jerusalem. Chapters 40 to 55 is Isaiah of the exile. That would be 597 to 537. And then chapters 55 to 66 would be 3rd Isaiah. And that book speaks of peace. The temple and the city of Jerusalem is rebuilt. Each one of these books has a different concept of messianism. We say that First Isaiah would be a royal messianism. The second Isaiah looks to a suffering servant, and the famous text of the suffering servant occur in it. And then the third Isaiah is a community who is called to be a witness and a prophet of themselves. So 3 distinct time frames. The 700 BC period for Isaiah of Jerusalem, a period of 50 or 60 years for second Isaiah in the 500 period. And then third Isaiah, after the exile, the city of Jerusalem has been rebuilt. The temple took 40 years to build, but the community is settled at that time. And it goes through a period where the city is governed by the Persians, and then the Greeks, and finally the Romans. Now, who is this Isaiah? The book opens with a number of prophecies. Some of them are woes, and some are weals. And that is W-E-A-L, weal. Like commonwealth, and it's common good news. Now, he had an extraordinary calling, which is recorded in chapter 6. He seems to have been a temple prophet, something that we would call a liturgist today, responsible for the integrity of the liturgy, creator of hymns, writer of sometimes of psalms. So he is a public servant of the Jewish community. He is married to the prophetess, which the story occurs in chapter 8. He has 2 sons to whom he gives prophetic names. We think that some of the names that children are given today as strange. these are even better. This first son is named Mahar Shalal Hashbaz, which means a remnant will return. So at a time when the life of the city and the life of the people was at stake, this little fellow would walk around, and everybody knew him as a remnant will return. I read now from chapter 7. In the days of Ahaz, the son of Jotham, son of Uzziah, king of Judah, Rezin and the king of Syria, and Pekah, the son of Remaliah, the king of Israel, came up to Jerusalem to wage war against it, but they could not conquer it. When the house of David was told, Syria is in league with Ephraim, his heart and the heart of his people shook as trees in the forest shake before the wind. And the Lord said to Isaiah, "Go forth to meet Ahaz, you and your son Shear-Yashub," that a remnant will return. Meet him as at the end of the conduit of the upper pool on the highway to the fuller's field, and say to him, "Take heed, be quiet, do not fear, do not let your heart be faint because of these two smoldering stumps of firebrands, and the fierce anger of Rezin and Syria, the son of Remaliah, because Syria with Ephraim and the son of Remaliah has devised evil against you, saying, 'Let us go up against Judah and terrify it, and let us conquer it for ourselves and set up the son of Tabiel as king in the midst of it.'" Okay, these are three kingdoms north of Jerusalem. And the king of Jerusalem is Ahaz. So he's shaking in his boots when he hears about this. Say to it, "He shall not stand, and it shall not come to pass. For the head of Syria is Damascus, and the head of Damascus is Rezin. Within 65 years, Ephraim will be broken into pieces, so that it will no longer be a people. And the head of Ephraim is Samaria. The head of Samaria is the son of Remaliah. If you do not believe, surely you shall not be established." Again the Lord spoke to Ahaz, "Ask for a sign of the Lord your God. Let it be deep as Sheol or high as the heavens." But Ahaz said, "I will not ask. I will not put the Lord to the test." And he said, "Hear then, O house of David. Is it too little for you to weary men, that you must also weary my God also? Therefore the Lord himself will give you a sign. Behold, a young woman shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. He shall eat curds and honey when he knows how to refuse evil and choose the good." Therefore, before the child knows how to refuse evil and choose good, the land before whose 2 kings you are now in dread will be deserted. The Lord will bring upon you and upon your people, upon your father's house, such days as has not come since the day that Ephraim departed from Judah, the king of Assyria. Now, in this text, we have Syria and Assyria. Assyria rose to power in the Middle East and effectively took over the smaller kingdoms of the north. And Ahaz's response to this, make a secret treaty with Assyria itself. Egypt to its south was afraid and did not want to take sides in this war. The interesting thing is, Ahaz knew it was a no-win situation, whatever happened. So he went secretly to Assyria and begged to be their vassal, and that Assyria would not destroy them. Sennacherib, the head of the army, began in the north of the kingdom and went all the way to the border with Egypt, leaving Judah, one tribe, left them intact. Now, when Ahaz says, I will not test God, he had already made decisions. He gave allegiance to Assyria, a pagan power. He did not trust God to protect them. He imported the image of Dagon, which was the god of the Assyrians, and had it erected in the temple itself. He put all his hopes that Assyria would not destroy them. So, the new head of that army was a man by the name of Tiglath-Pileser III. How'd you like that one? So when we come to this prophecy, Ahaz would not ask for a sign. As high as the heavens above, that's something that, like a comet or something that everybody would see and know as a sign, or calling someone from the dead, as Saul had called Samuel from the dead. That would be the kind of a sign that God was willing to provide Ahaz, so he took courage. Now, this is a difficult text. Behold, Ha'alma will be with child and will give birth to a son, and she will call his name Emmanuel. Now the word Ha'alma refers, is the definite article in Hebrew. So the young woman who has not yet born a child, a maiden. There are words that Bethulah is the word for virgin in Hebrew, but it's given originally in the text as Ha'alma. However, when the text was translated into Greek, so in the Septuagint Bible, it was translated as Parthenos, which can only mean virgin. And that would have been the text that the New Testament writers would have gone to, because Hebrew was no longer spoken in the land, only the reading of the scriptures in the worship of the people. So the Ha'alma, a young woman, probably someone who is a wife of Ahaz. She will conceive in her womb and give birth to a son, and you will give him the name Emmanuel. Emmanuel is Imanu, is with us. El is one of the short forms of the God called Elohim by the Jewish people. When Matthew writes, quotes this text, he says, "Behold, the Parthenos," the virgin, strict sense, will conceive and bear a son. So the translation goes back to Bethulah, the virgin in Hebrew. So when in Christian times the text specifies that a virgin will conceive and bear a son, and the virgin birth of Mary comes from this particular text. Next time, I'm going to take the messianic texts that are royal texts from chapter 9 and 11.